Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. This is Shelly over at Crafty Cottage Dreams. How are you doing today? I hope everybody is doing well. I'm here to present my design team project for Doreen over at Ooh La La Vintage Treasures using her Pink Parfait digital kit along with Divine Moments. I have two tall journals here measuring the little baby journals. You'll each get one with a tall journal, which they are 5 by 4. They both are, and the taller journals here are, with all the papers sticking out, 11 by 4.5 inches. So how about we just dive right in. I originally have 4 journals in the making. However, I've only, due to time restraints, I've only managed to get 2 of these done. So how about we start with this one? And we'll go through the baby journal first, which is super cute. I love it. And this is just a very shabby vintage journal. I love the torn pages, and I just love the whole aesthetic of this look. I love it. I love the layering. Look at how cute she is. So all I did was have these small little doilies, and I cut the center out and added Doreen's little sweet angel faces. I have one of my rusty T-pins here. This is old vintage. I'm not quite sure what it was off from, but I had it laying around and I thought it looked super nice on there. So we have some French book pages in here. We have some packaging paper, which I took the time to stencil with some spackling that I used, which was super fun. I love the look. And of course we have Doreen's digitals in here as well. Some bling, some tea-dyed lace here. We have some vintage music paper, French book pages. I have a little ruffle that I created here. Some more lace with bling. We just have this gold star fabric here. These are all vintage antique papers. Cotton rag. This is your center. And that is the back. Super cute. I love these little journals. So there's the little journal. Just set that aside. And here is the big journal. Now I took the time to tea-dye. This is from an old lace curtain, so that is the closure. It is tea-dyed with a hint of avocado mixed in there. I just experimented. And here is the front cover. You can see the front cover, there is layering here. And it might be really hard to pick up on camera, but it is. And then it's adorned with this beautiful applique fabric, which I absolutely adore. And then I had an old square doily, and I just used a frame here, and I took the time to put Doreen's little angel face on there from her kit. And I love it. Some sari silk on the top for a bow. I love this little floral applique with a pearl, and I have one of my rusty T-pins up there. So here is the front cover, which I created a pocket from a French book page, and I just did some collaging here. And then I added a little ephemera card, and I took the time to make this, oh, why do I always forget? Wax seal with this new rose stamp that I got, and I just adore it. And then put some gold icing on there. And then I have this watercolor paper, which I embossed. So you have vintage paper watercolor and then the white. And I love these. I'm kind of addicted to it because watercolor paper, because I just love the texture and feel. And they emboss extremely well. And then we have this vintage receipts. And that just sits in this pocket. Like so. And then we have some old packaging paper that I used and spackled on there with my stencil. Then I just did a little collaging over here on this side with a little polka dotted pink fabric bow, Doreen's beautiful image. And then I used that watercolor paper and stamped with Sam Poole's new stamp set that I received. It's her second one. It is called, I don't have it right here with me, but it's her second, what is it, past dates number 2, but I love it. And then we just have a fabric, embroidered fabric here. And then we have a French book page. I just did some collaging, and I have a little flip up here. You can certainly journal on the back side, add a picture, whatever. And we have an old French book page, which you can also, I also, with Doreen's digital, I placed on the French book page, just tore it up, did a lot of oh my goodness, I did a lot of staining. I did a lot of staining with some walnut stain. You can certainly journal on that. We have an old French book page, and I just love this image of this floral design and book. And we have another flip with a vintage music paper. Can certainly journal in the back there. And I took the time to stamp on this with Sam Poole's new stamp that I got. I love it. Thank you, Sam. I love her stamps. And I just did some collaging here. We have a fabric tab here. This is an actual coffee stain envelope that I incorporated in here, and I made the back side into a pocket, and I just did some collaging here and some stamping with Sam Poole stamps. Just we have a little fabric tab here. And also some collaging and stamping along here as well. And on the inside, I just added this watercolor paper that I embossed. I added this vintage, what's that, parchment paper that I got and just stamped using that Poole stamp. Can play with, and some vintage wallpaper. And that just tucks right inside there. You can get it in there. And this is, I love this image right here. I think there's really a couple pages within that kit that I absolutely adored, and this is one of them. Poole stamp here. I have a little fabric ruffle here on the side. Don't you just love this? And I did distress along all these pages, so it gave it that vintage look. And then we have a vintage ledger here, and I created a pocket, added some lace on the bottom. I added a rusty bin here with sari silk. And then on the inside of this pocket, I just have a little tag using Doreens Digitals. Again, we have some embossed watercolor paper. And then I have this beautiful pink embossed paper, some more vintage wallpaper, and again that vintage parchment paper which I stamped on that you can play around. Whoops. Sorry about that, guys. I have way too much on my desk. And that just tucks all in there. And look at this. I love this. And then I just added, this is from an old curtain, lace curtain that I had, which I tea-dyed with a little bit of avocado too. So I was just experimenting, so it gave it that vintage pinky vibe. And I have some bling up there. I love this. Some cotton rag paper, French cotton rag paper, and I have Doreen's beautiful image here. You just use some washi tape to secure it, and it's just a flip up. Certainly journal in the back there. And then here I added another image. You can certainly write on this. And a little tiny, these little tiny doilies were actually the inside of these that I cut out. So all I did was add a little bling in the center. We have a French book page with Doreen's image there. We have blank ledger here and a little pocket. I added this beautiful fabric here and of course some bling. And then I created a tag. Just did a collaging. You can certainly journal in the back. And we have a little tab here. And then I received these stamps. It looked like it's a stamp. There are a bunch of stamps that look like stitching. So I just stamped along there. I thought that was pretty cool and I wanted to play around with that. And we have a Poole stamp up here. Again, I just collaged on this cotton rag, a French book page, that watercolor paper, which I use Poole stamps. And again, that's the cutout inside of that doily with a little bit of bling. And again, you can certainly journal on the back side there. Some French book page, which I added Doreen's, one of Doreen's cutouts there. And I love this. I love I just love it. Can certainly journal on the inside of that beautiful frame there. And again, we have a tab. And then here, I have it on a rusty, one of my rusty, I forgot what kind they're called. Of course, I dropped them on the floor. I'd show you. But I forgot what these are called. It's a different clip that I used, which I like. Forgot what they're called, but anywho. And then we just have a bunch of papers here. I did some collaging, little quote with one of my rusty T-pins and a rusty brad. You can serve vintage paper, Doreens digitals. Some more vintage wallpaper. And that just clips right up there. And then I also did some more stenciling on some packaging paper with some stucco or spackling, whatever you want to call it. We have a fabric flip again, which is also in these small little journals too. Where are they? With the stars. I love it. Again, we have some ledger, vintage ledger. And again, I made a pocket with one of my rusty clips. And I added some sari silk on the side, which that all ties in with this bow in here. Some lace. And again, I collaged a tag. Certainly journal in the back. And I love, love, love. Doreen, these are beautiful images. And then I have a fabric ruffle here. And here, again, I did use, I don't know if you can see it, but I used that stencil. It appears like it's stitched. A fabric embroidered flip, lace flip. Vintage music wallpaper. And again, we have this beautiful image of Doreens, and it's a flip up. Can certainly journal on the back side of that. And then here we just have some lace with some bling. And again, I use that stamp that appears like it's been stitched there too. I had fun playing around with those stamps. And again, some collaging on this side as well, using those stamps for stitching. And this is that vintage parchment paper that I stamped with Poole Stamp. And again, another Poole stamp. I thought that page looks super cool. And then we have, that's from a lace curtain that I tore up on the side there. And this is your center, and I love it. And here I just did a little bit of collaging. I added this ruffle with a rusty stick pin. Give it that rusty textured look. And here again, here is another one of those flips. I'm not going to take it out, but it's, I showed you on the first one, it's pretty much the same thing. Got my rusty clip here with some sari silk, my rusty T-pin and brad, and I just did some collaging here with a quote. And again, it's vintage wallpaper, Doreens digitals. Just gave it a nice layered effect. You can certainly journal in that as well. And again, here, I love these images. Isn't she adorable? And I just made it into a flip. You can certainly journal in the back there. Vintage music paper. We have that other side of that flip. Fabric flip. We have a fabric sheer ruffle here. And again, I did that stamp stitching alongside here. And some more stamp stitching. I love that look. And then we have another ledger here, and I just created a pocket. I added a little bow with a rusty pin. And again, some stuff to play with. You have a little tag here. And again, that watercolor paper that I embossed and added some gold to it. Some vintage wallpaper. Again, that watercolor paper. I love this. So addicted. And this vintage wallpaper, which I stamped on with Poole Stamp. Just some fun stuff to play around with, guys. Another flip. It's a little crazy with the flips. We have a tab here. Love these. French book page. I just did a little collaging there. French cotton rag book page. I used that beautiful image. Again, I used that stamp alongside the stitching stamp, whatever you want to call them. And here we have another pocket. I love this fabric. I'm not really entirely sure, but it's super soft, and I just love how it just hangs on the edge of the journal there. Some bling, and I created this collage, this tag. Certainly journal in the back. Just did some collaging here as well, some stamping, added some lace and bling, cotton rag paper, can certainly journal on here as well, fabric ruffle, we have another ledger, vintage ledger with a pocket, and I added some watercolor paper, embossed watercolor paper, and I just collaged this tag. Certainly journal in the back. And that's the back side of that envelope. And I just did some stamping, Poole stamp here, and I just used it as a side tuck, and I also used some Poole stamp there. And we have that vintage parchment paper, which I stamped on with Poole. Again, some vintage wallpaper and some embossed watercolor paper, and that just tucks right in there. I really can't fit any more in this journal, guys. It's already chunky. We have vintage wallpaper, some French cotton rag book pages, fabric flip. And then I took the time to use this new die cut, rose die cut I got. So I used Doreens digitals and just cut out the rose there and added that there. I just thought that was pretty and added a nice little touch. And then on the back side of here. And then here is your back, which I used an old French book page as a pocket and did some collaging. And again, it's the same as the front. With some watercolor paper, embossed watercolor paper, and this old vintage receipt. It just tucks right in there. In this pocket. You to play around with. And that is it, guys. That is journal number 1. And I'm super pleased with how she came out. And this is included. And we'll set that aside and we'll quickly go through the second journal, which is pretty much the same. Guys, we'll just flip through this really quickly. Where am I at with time? 25 minutes. So we'll try to get through this as quickly as possible, because the longer the video, the longer it takes to upload. It might have a little bit of differences, but it's pretty much the same. I love the torn look for the covers, which enables you to see all the different layers. I have a rusty stick pin in there as well. Super cute. And here is journal number 2. And I love it. Look at that. I love that I used this and put Doreen's little angel face images in there. We have a rusty stick pin, a doily under here. It's pretty much the same, guys. A lot of layering using Doreen's Digitals underneath this beautiful applique fabric. I love it. So how about we flip through this really quickly. And it's pretty much the same, guys. I did some collaging, spackling, and you get all these goodies on the inside there. Some collaging. It's pretty much the same, guys. So I'm going to try and flip through this without doing... I love this. Love this. Collaging. I love Poole Stamps. These are pretty much the same, guys. I won't take it out, but it's like a journal flip, same as the other one. I love this. Love that fabric. And I only have one little slice of it left. I love this stamp and that stitching. Some more of that stitching. This tab. Stamping. A little flip. I love this. Your center. Some collaging. I had a rusty stick pin with that quote on the bottom. I love it. And on the other side, again, we have that flip. I love these images. Bunch of stuff to play around with. These antique rag paper French pages. This one's a little more delicate, but I loved the patina of it. I just did a ton of collaging on this with the watercolor paper and this stamp stitching and sample stamps. Love it. I loved this digital of Doreens, but I also incorporated that stamp stitching so it appears like it's been stitched. It's so cool. Fabric tab. And still plenty of room to journal on as well, guys, to kind of make it your own. Another pocket of just watercolor paper, embossed watercolor paper. Flip. And this is the back, filled with yumminess. And that is journal number 2. And that is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and these will be listed in my Etsy shop. as soon as the video uploads, it'll give everybody a chance to view it before purchasing. So that is it, guys. My other 2 journals I'm still working on. I'm keeping them more so as a writing journal, so it will not be filled with a lot of ephemera. It'll be a beautiful cover, with definitely, because I just can't create a journal without any lace. With lace as well, but it will not be filled with ephemera. So I will be using those more or less towards a writing journal, because not everybody likes journals where they're so filled up. So yeah, anyways, until next time, guys, I hope you have a blessed day. Much love and hugs, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.